Tonight our session is the impact of the media on the field of public health. And just as a reminder that during the session we ask that you turn off all your technology so that if your phone rings or your pad beeps or whatever, then it won't disrupt the recording or also it won't disturb anyone. We also ask that you mute the microphone in your room so that we don't get any background noises or side conversations, and that if you're ready to speak, then you unmute at that time. I hope that tonight's session will be interactive and that you guys will get engaged and ask questions and answer questions and have conversations, so that is strongly encouraged. The objectives of tonight's session is that the participants will be able to, at the end of this session, be able to define cultivation theory and social learning theory. That is going to be a primary focus or an underlying theme for tonight's session. And then also that you will be able to discuss how the cultivation and social learning theories affect personal development. You will also be able to discuss the influences of technology and social media within your life. Tonight's speakers are from I Am Not the Media, and some of you were able to or had the opportunity to meet Ms. Jamika Anderson during last year's series. She actually came on the campus visits with me, and she will be doing the same this year. She'll be facilitating a different session that will be sort of like a next phase for you guys. So I'd like to introduce our speakers at this time as we're waiting for them to come on into the building and get set up. We have Ms. Jamika Anderson. She is the founder and executive director of I Am Not the Media. She is a graduate of the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, where she earned a Bachelor of Science in Human Development and Family Studies and with a concentration in adolescent development. She currently resides in Charlotte, North Carolina, where she is the founder and executive director of I Am Not the Media, Incorporated, a nonprofit organization for teens that empowers youth through media literacy and media creation. Jamika is also an author of 2 books. She's a poet, a spoken word artist, and public speaker for youth and young adults, where she travels locally and outside of the Carolinas. She has spent the past 8 years educating and inspiring teens in a nonprofit setting to try and reach their full potential. In her current position at Charlotte Mecklenburg Library, Jamika serves as a library supervisor coordinator, where she plans programs and large-scale events for the city of Charlotte. She is a recipient of the 2013 National YALSA Award for Youth Programming and has been recognized as the 2013 Outstanding Paraprofessional of the Year for the Charlotte Mecklenburg Library System. We also will have with us this evening Charnel Walton. Charnel received her bachelor's degree from the University of North Carolina at Greensboro in public health with a minor in human development and family studies. Charnel will be graduating in May from the University of North Carolina at Charlotte with a Master of Science in Public Health. While in school, she is also serving as the development director for the nonprofit organization I Am Not the Media. After graduation, her goal is to land a career in the public health field, educating adolescents on ways to refrain from engaging in risky health behaviors. So as you can see, she is on her way to becoming a healthcare professional as well. So we are going to switch everything over right now as we welcome Ms. Anderson and Ms. Walton. Help me welcome them. Okay, just need to put your...
Jamika Anderson. I'm actually the founder and executive director of I Am Not the Media, Incorporated. We are a nonprofit organization based in Charlotte. We do travel outside of the city and outside of the state. Our focus is on educating teens and young adults on media literacy. Today, our presentation will focus on the the influence that the media has on the field of public health. The organization was started in May 2011, and since our incorporation, we have served over 4,000 teens and young adults. And basically, our goal is to basically educate these teens and young adults, or just like yourselves, on the impact that the media is having on them, understanding the messages, the hidden messages, and the direct messages that are in the media, and how they influence our lives. So since our incorporation, we have reached over 4,000 individuals. We are booked by YWCAs, Boys and Girls Clubs, colleges, and basically we come to them and we deliver programming that's stemmed on media literacy. Media literacy is a field or focus that is untapped. It's becoming a new focus that a lot of institutions are seeing the need to create a field of study that focuses on media literacy. And in this presentation, you'll actually find out about some of those institutions that are offering the media literacy program as a master's or a certificate program to add on to your baccalaureate degree. So we're getting everything ready for you guys. And this presentation is on the influence of the media on the field of public health. And I now have Charnel Walton, our development director, who's also in the master's program at UNC Charlotte in public health. She will be assisting us with this presentation.
Hello.
Okay, so once again, I just want to point out the presentation links. We have a handout for you guys to actually do some of the activities that we're going to engage in throughout this presentation. We also have a copy of the presentation slides. Those links are available as listed right here on the screen. We also have our survey that we would like for you guys to participate in following this presentation, just assessing the content that we're delivering to you all and how beneficial it is for you in your professional outlook and what your field of study is, and if it's applicable to what you're planning on pursuing your career in. Now I'm going to hand it over to Charnel.
Hello. So what we're going to talk about today is why study the media and the public health. So we're going to look at three different things. Its impact of the masses. I'll go into a little detail about that. But when you think of public health, we think of more population-based. We focus on the individual at some points, but we look at different communities, we look at different populations. That's the main goal of public health, is to affect the public's health. And it's an untapped field of study. There has been research out there as far as the media's influence on certain health behaviors, but the overall field of public health is vague still. And a lot of research is dated, 1990 something, and then maybe 2000s, and it's like it skips quite often. So that's one of those. It's like an untapped field that we want to get more focused on, and there's a large unawareness of the influence. So a lot of research is showing that media does have some type of influence on health behaviors, but it's still vague. So we're trying to build that awareness and that influence of how media impacts public health.
Okay, so now we're going to look at how does the media influence public health specifically. Looking at health, we're going to look at how it influences mental health. We're going to look at how it influences health behaviors and also physical health. Those are our three focus areas that we will be assessing in this presentation. So I'm going to take the floor right now and start out with basically enlightening you all on how the influence on mental health is basically derived through the media's influence. We will look at addictions, anxiety, depression, disorders, and disease. Now, for the remainder of this presentation, we're going to do an activity. So if you look on your handout, the handout, it was presented to you guys, and the links were provided. If you do not have the handout accessible right now, please refer to the PDF that was sent that creates the resource for the handout. But basically, we're going to do an activity where right now we're challenging all of you guys to turn off your cellular device. So we want you to turn off your cellular device for the remainder of this presentation. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to basically show you an example of an assessment that is done that focuses on the internet addiction disorder. So we're challenging you right now to turn off your cellular device. I'm going to go ahead and give you a minute to pull it out and actually turn it off, not put it on silent, but turn it completely off. And with this activity, this is going to go on for the remainder of the presentation, okay? And basically, any time that you think about grabbing your mobile device, think about checking that email, thinking about checking what's going on Facebook or social media, I want you to make a tally mark right here on this part of the handout. Just anytime, just even while this presentation is going on, if your mind wanders off and say, hey, I need to check my email, we want you to go ahead and just hit a tally mark right there on that sheet, because we want to assess how many times throughout this presentation, which is about an hour, that you actually think about your mobile device and the need to gravitate towards it.
And we're going to be doing it too. So
we will do this as well. Okay, so hopefully everyone has turned off their mobile device and we can move forward with the presentation. And please keep in mind, anytime you think of it, don't grab the phone, just make a tally, okay? Now, the next slide, we see a image. And you see at the top of this image, what does this picture say to you? So I want you guys to think about what this picture say to you. I'm going to give you about 15, 20 seconds just to look at it and think about, assess, what is this image saying to me in regards to mental health? Charnel? What does this image say to you in regards to mental health?
This image to me, it just, I don't know, it's kind of overwhelming. It just shows that how much it's taken over. It's like we have no control over it. That's what I see from this one.
Well, I think that the image to me is saying the media has the power to basically enter your mind. And we're going to touch bases on this a little bit more in the presentation with the cultivation theory, but it's almost like food. It's something that you consume. And the media has the ability to enter your mind and impact your behaviors. It can impact your emotions, how you feel. And I think a lot of individuals are not aware of that while they're engaging in media usage. So to me, it basically visually captures how the media can enter your mind without you even knowing it. Okay, so we're going to move forward and discuss addictions. This right here is a blog post that I found and I thought was very interesting because the writer of this blog post is Christine Cashin, and she's a public speaker. And she brings in the concept of the I-addict. And through this blog post, she basically gives an account of one day when she misplaces her phone. And when she misplaces her phone, she goes on this tangent where she's trying to find and locate the phone, and she starts experiencing anxiety and noticing that she basically has an internet addiction disorder with her phone, because once she realizes she's lost her phone, she misplaced her phone, throughout the day she's constantly thinking, oh my gosh, I need to check this email, oh my gosh, I need to check and see if someone's text me. And then she also relates it to when she finally arrives back home and she sees her phone, the sense of relief that she has, and almost as though it's like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I was able to go without this. I need this, when she gravitates and finds it. So I think that this is a very interesting blog post, and I'm pretty sure a lot of individuals can relate, because I have been in that situation where I had to go a day without my phone. I didn't know what I was going to do. And some of you guys are probably going to experience that if you have not already made some of your tally marks where you're already experiencing some of that those withdrawal symptoms of, I need to have access to my phone right now. So this blog post is an interesting post that I think you guys should read, and you'll probably definitely be able to relate. So looking more at addiction, we're going to focus on the device addictions, okay? The device addiction, someone that experiences this, is known as a mobile addict, and it is defined as a user that launches apps more than 60 times a day, according to mobile analytics from firm Flurry, which is 6 times more than the average user. Okay, so basically they're saying the average user of internet or of a device, such as your mobile device, will use it on average 10 times a day. So a mobile addict is someone that basically uses it 60 times a day. The number of mobile addicts has grown by 123% over the past year, according to Flurry, which looks at data from 500,000 apps across 1.3 billion mobile devices. As of March 2014, which is a few months back, there were 176 million addicts up from 79 million in the same period last year. So that number has basically doubled and some, almost tripled. Females accounted for 50% of the addicts, while the rest were males. So basically, we see females having a little bit more of a addiction when it comes to their mobile devices. Moving forward, now we're going to look at the internet addiction disorder, which we're actually assessing throughout this presentation. The internet addiction disorder has been known to have the same similar changes in the brain as cocaine, okay? And there's been a lot of research done on this topic, and there was one study done by the PLOS, that's an abbreviation, PLOS-1 study, which was done in January 11th, 2012. In the study, they studied over 17 men and women that were already diagnosed as being internet addicted individuals. So they had IAD. They compared the brain scans to 16 healthy web users, so people that are not as overly connected and utilize the internet on a very addictive basis. Once they compared their brain scans, they noticed some patterns of abnormal white matter that was on the brain scans of the addicted participants. The white matter, basically, they noticed that there was a correlation from brain scans that had been done on individuals that were addicted to alcohol, cocaine, heroin, marijuana, meth, and even ketamine, which is also known as Special K. So they noticed that there was the same type of white matter that were on the brain scans of those that were addicted to the internet as those that were addicted to drugs. So they saw this correlation. And the concerns is that white matter contains nerve fibers that transmit signals, which create disruptive pathways that correlate to certain emotions and decision making that create hindrances in making self-controlled decisions. So I thought that was very interesting with that research that has been done on seeing the connection between internet addiction users and drug addiction users. So it's very similar to as using drugs, those that are addicted to the internet. No one would ever think of that as an addiction, but it is. Anxiety is another focus where the media has had a significant amount of influence. One of the main new areas of focus that have derived is the social media anxiety disorder. This disorder, now I want you guys to think about when you first started Facebook or first started your social media. Think about that. I know when I first started social media, I started Facebook back in 2005, and when I first created that account, I remember experiencing when I started sending those Facebook friend requests, and I just remember experiencing that sensation of awaiting for someone to accept that friend request, awaiting for someone to respond to that message.
Raise your hand if you can relate to that, because I know I can. Most definitely.
And those feelings, those sensations are associated with anxiety. So the feeling that you cannot go without checking your social media. Those are some symptoms or some signs of social media anxiety. When you see individuals, or if yourself, you withdraw yourself completely from the outside world just to be engaged with social media. Sign of social media anxiety disorder. Individuals that highly anticipates those social acceptance likes and friend requests and those followers to add up. Those are examples of social media anxiety. Examples for when you just have that, I gotta go check my Facebook, I gotta go check my Twitter, I gotta see if somebody retweeted me. That is an example of social media anxiety. So please be aware of that is a disorder, a new derived disorder that they're doing research on. Social anxiety disorder, that's social anxiety, social without the media and before the anxiety, is a common anxiety disorder, also known as social phobia. This involves overwhelming worry and self-consciousness about everyday social situations, centers on a fear of being judged by others. So I want you to think about how the media can contribute to or cause social anxiety disorder with individuals. So when you think about that, think about the magazines. Think about the self-image issues that a lot of people have from looking at magazine covers, from looking at videos, just being highly exposed to those fashion talk shows, what you didn't wear, what you should wear. And then that creates that anxiety in individuals that say, I don't want to be judged because I don't look like what I see in the magazines. I don't want to be judged based off of what I wear, how I talk. My body image does not match or correlate with the images that I see. And then that creates that overwhelming sense of anxiety that you will not fit in or people are constantly judging you. So social anxiety disorder is definitely one disorder that is contributed from the media. Depression is another example. With this focus area, we've done a lot of research in the field of media influence on women, so I thought it was very interesting to find an article and a study that assessed the impact of media influence on depression with males. So, with that being said, this conclusion that was derived from this article, television exposure and total media exposure in adolescence are associated with increased odds of depressive symptoms in young adulthood, especially in young men. I thought this resonated tremendously because then we go in to see how depression, which is derived from television exposure and media exposure, how it then goes on to impact one's life. Because of onsets of a depression, it is common in adolescence and young adulthood that it coincides with pivotal periods of physical and psychologic development and can lead to poorer psychosocial functioning, a lower life and career satisfaction, more interpersonal difficulty, a greater need for social support, more psychiatric conditions, and the very dreaded risk of suicide. So these are things that can be derived from depression with young males and women. I think that, what do you think is maybe some of the causes of depression with young men in the media? What do you think, Charnel?
Well, I mean, I guess we could ask them too.
Yeah, true.
That is true.
What do you guys think?
Ready.
We have some participants in here. What do you guys think?
Money. Can she hear?
Can you hear us? I can hear you. All right, say it again.
Money.
Money,
Or die.
money, definitely.
What else?
I think it's probably so about being
So about fitting in.
Fitting in, we have fitting in can contribute. Seeing images where men feel that they don't identify with, and maybe they feel that they don't fit in with society. Okay.
Repeat the question.
The question was, what do you think? What images or what examples in the media do you think can contribute to creating depression amongst young males? I will also say body image, even with males. A lot of people think of body image in the media and they focus solely on women, but I think the continuous push for men to be fit, muscular tone, tall, really built, I think that creates a lot of anxiety for them to fit in with that mold of what they should look like, and some of them feel that they maybe will never be able to obtain it, just like some women may go through some of those issues. But I definitely agree with you guys when it comes to money. I think body image, also the image of men being perceived as powerful with women, and just them feeling that they don't fit that image, and then that doesn't equate to what manhood looks like. That can start having a psychological impact on who you are as a man, and am I man enough? And then that creates that depression. So let's look at some disorders and disease associated with mental health from the media's influence. Bulimia nervosa and anorexia nervosa is definitely a huge area that I'm pretty sure none of you are shy from knowing about. Definitely magazine ads, celebrities in the media, high exposure to the thin body frame with females has contributed greatly to that disorder with females. Social anxiety disorder and social media anxiety disorder, we already touched on. Also, different phobias associated with the media. Charnel's going to get into the impact on health behaviors, but those phobias from when it comes to fear, and just different phobias that you never may think of that could be contributed from the media's influence. The narcissistic personality disorder. This is one that I found really, really interesting because there's been some research done on how certain social media apps that have been created, such as Instagram, and the need for people to constantly take photos of themselves, it has created a narcissistic personality disorder. So there is research being done right now on the narcissistic personality disorder because individuals are feeling that, you know, they have to take so many shots of themselves or create the perfect image of what they feel they should look like and to post it and share. Have any of you guys heard of the case where the young man took, I think it was over 100 or was it over 1,000 images?
Selfies.
And he couldn't get the perfect one, so he attempted suicide. So those examples. Those are examples of how, yes, I mean, it's true. The Internet Addiction Disorder, IAD, and then, of course, trigeminal, give me a hard time to pronounce this, neuralgia, which is also basically suicide disease, is contributed to when you see cases of cyberbullying through media exposure. So all of those are examples of disorders and disease, and there's probably many more out there, and then some that are evolving, ever evolving with the new technology that is coming forward with the media. So, at the end of each section, we're going to do a stat chat. So we want to throw out some stats for you guys that might be beneficial. Unmute your mics. Is everyone unmuted their mics?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, according to the National Association of Anorexia Nervosa and Associated Disorders, 69% of girls in 5th to 12th grade reported that magazine pictures influenced their idea of the perfect body. Is this a surprise to any of you guys? No. Is this a surprise to you guys?
No.
Not at all? 80% of women who answered a People magazine survey responded that images of women on television and in the movies make them feel insecure. Is this a surprise to you all?
No.
Okay, awesome.
And then real quick, as you guys are talking, just be aware of your noise because we can hear it too. So then it kind of distracts us from what we're saying. So just be mindful. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, is everyone laugh? Okay, so the next fact check. A Swedish study found that participants who felt the need to have their cell phones constantly accessible were more likely to report depressive mental health symptoms. Do you think that's interesting, or do you agree? Can you see how that could be possible? Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes.
So those that were more dependent on their cell phones reported experiencing depressive mental health symptoms. The last fact is using a laptop, cell phone, or iPad late at night can seriously mess with your sleep patterns and habits, potentially leaving you with a sleep disorder. Late night use is also associated with stress and depressive symptoms. How do you guys feel about that?
It's true.
It's true. Are any of you guys suffering from sleep disorders?
Yep. Occasionally. When I need to go to sleep, I'm on my technology.
All right, now Charnel is going to take over and discuss the influence on health behaviors.
Okay, so with the influence of healthy behaviors, we're going to look at 3 different theories. We're going to look at the cultivation theory, the social learning theory, and the expectancy value theory. Okay, so what we're going to do real quick, I want to make this real interactive, okay? So I need you guys to work with me. So I need a few people to shout out some reality shows that they've been watching, have watched.
I don't even watch it.
Are we playing?
It could be anything.
Atlanta Housewives.
Atlanta Housewives.
That's my show.
Atlanta Exes.
Atlanta X.
Love and Hip Hop.
Love and Hip Hop. I heard Love and Hip Hop.
Love and Hip Hop.
Maybe Jersey Shore, maybe? Jersey
Shore is off.
Oh, yeah, it is off. Never mind. Never mind. Any other ones?
You not on the TV?
Keeping up with the Braxton Family Values.
Oh,
Keeping up with the Kardashians. Is that what I heard? Okay. So we got, the hip hop wise. Everybody ready? So I need y'all to, okay, so this is your task. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of think about some of these shows, and on your activity sheet, in the middle it says reality TV activity. And you can see there's different health behaviors on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go individually by each one. I'm going to do like 4 of them that y'all said. And I want you to check off what you can remember or what you can think about that are in these shows. Okay? All of them. Y'all got it? All of them. Okay, so for the first show I'm going to choose is
Love and Hip Hop.
Love and Hip Hop. So based on Love and Hip Hop, what y'all seen recently, I want you to check off or put a tally beside. We're gonna just tally them up. If you see any sexual activity represented in that show, put a tally beside that.
Do you? You don't watch it?
If you see any acts of physical violence in Love and Hip Hop, put a tally beside it.
It is?
Yes, those girls on their fight. Yeah, the girls on their fight, yeah. Drugs and alcohol abuse, or drugs and alcohol represented in general on Love and Hip Hop. Is there any bullying involved in Love and Hip Hop? And then if there's anything else you can think of, you can jot it down. Okay, y'all ready for the next one? Okay, so the next show will be
The Bad Girls Club.
The Bad Girls Club. So if there is any sexual activity represented in the Bad Girls Club, put a tally. Physical violence, drugs and alcohol abuse, or drugs and alcohol representation, or bullying. And I'll do one more. I don't know. I mean, y'all give me.
Throw one out.
Throw one out real quick.
For those who do not watch the reality shows, do you have a brief synopsis?
So when we talk about reality shows, we're focused on the ones where it's this. I don't know.
It could be any of them. What about America's Next Top Model? Everybody familiar with America's Next Top Model?
What do y'all watch? Oh, I mean, a T.I. show. Yeah.
Any type of show that's
Scandal. Watch on reality show. Scandal.
It's scripted. Okay, when we're thinking about reality TV, we want to focus on it's like their life. Somebody showing their life.
And there's no script.
And there's no script.
Teen
Like
Mom.
Teen Mom.
Teen Mom. There we go. We got one. Teen Mom on your TV.
That thing come on
So
tonight.
does Teen Mom represent any sexual activity? Well, I mean, okay, just put a tally. If it does, put a tally. Physical violence,
Yeah, what Amber did.
drugs and alcohol, bullying, or any other activities or any other behaviors that you can think of.
Wheelchair huddle.
Okay, so how many tallies do y'all have for sexual activity? Did all of them have it, or was it
If we sleep with each other.
All of them. All.
all of them? Okay. What about physical violence?
All.
Did all of them have all of them?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so that's a brief activity. So just kind of get you thinking about different behaviors that you see in the media, and we're going to talk about some of these theories and how it relates to some of the things that we talked about. So cultivation theory, it shows the impact that mass media has on the perception of reality, depending on the level of exposure. So it's like that false perception of reality. And then research has proposed that heavy TV exposure often leads to individuals to accept the world portrayed by TV as real. And then people who tend to watch an excessive amount of TV give television answers to opinions and knowledgeable questions. And then they also see the world as frightening or violent. They're less trusting of others. They overestimate how many people are in law enforcement, and they feel that they're more likely to become victim of a crime. Also, this was one fact that I found that was really interesting, is that people become more accepting of violence to deal with different situations. And based on what we said about physical violence, you said that was in all of these reality shows. So is that how we perceive, or is that how we tend to deal with conflict based on what we're watching? Because it seems like it's a norm in a lot of these reality shows, especially, Love and Hip Hop? Mm-hmm. That's the one way that they deal with conflict, is through violence. So that's one thing that this cultivation theory is, the watching it and then perceiving that reality as the real reality when it's actually a false perception of what reality is.
Also, with the cultivation theory, it basically challenges you to assess your media diet, because basically what the cultivation theory says is, over an extensive amount of time, if you're watching TV every day over however many years, that you will become cultivated with the content that you're exposing yourself to. So kind of think of yourself as if you went off to Spain for 365 days to live there. Would you not become cultivated within that society, within that culture? Would you not come back speaking somewhat Spanish, or just knowing a lot about the culture? Or maybe you have a different dialect, or a different
everything.
Yeah, you will be cultivated into Spain culture. So what the cultivation theory is saying is, think about if you're constantly watching this type of reality TV, or if you are watching misogynistic content that you're exposing yourself to over a period of time. Just think if you're exposing yourself to misogynistic music, misogynistic TV, and you're basically cultivating yourself. So think about if you started cultivating that at an early age, and then by the time you're 30 years old, would you not have basically taken on a media diet that has embraced misogynistic culture without even realizing it? So we got examples on here. So you see Tupac's Thug Life. Okay, so when Tupac created Thug Life, it was derived during a time where basically he created this concept for individuals to embrace their situation, for individuals that were living in poverty, that basically had no way out. If this was your situation, don't be ashamed of it, embrace it. That was his whole concept. I guess if you want to say he was a theorist back then. That was his whole concept or idea when he presented Thug Life. So I know when I was in high school and growing up, I had friends that we grew up in middle class homes, and they had both parents, and they lived in a nice home, and they were embracing Thug Life. And I was just wondering, why are you trying to be a thug? And when I was exposed to the cultivation theory, I said, okay, that makes sense. So when you see individuals that are cultivating music and videos and information on a regular and consistent basis, that's becoming cultivated into who they are. Even if they're not exposed to it in their tangible experience, they're cultivating it in their lifestyle. So then they began talking and walking and acting and taking on that lifestyle. So because they become completely cultivated in that culture that they've been exposed to through media. So media is an example of creating environmental factors without you actually even being in the environment, to expose you and to bring on that nurture component of that nature versus nurture to who you will become. So that's what the cultivation theory is about.
Okay, so the social cognitive theory. I know y'all see the image at the bottom. But it was originally named the social learning theory, because one of the theorists, Bandura, what he did was they focused on that learning aspect. So it's that observation, and then what you observe is what you act on. So the social cognitive part came in is when they want to understand that thinking process of why people act on these behaviors. So as you can see down here a little bit, you can see kind of how the twerking thing is that learning aspect, and then how people think of the behavior. So that's the social cognitive theory.
And just to add on, the social cognitive theory, like Charnel was just saying, it's the whole modeling concept. So if any of you guys are studying theories and you're learning how children learn and associate behaviors, they learn through modeling. So it's just that whole concept. You know, I see you doing this, I'm going to attempt and try and see what it's like. So when Charnel was giving an example of Bandura with the Bobo study, when they created that study and when they were deriving this social learning theory, they placed those kids in a room and they were beating a Bobo doll. And well, the kids were actually outside of the room. They was watching someone beat the Bobo doll. And then when the kids entered and they closed the doors and they just had the kids on camera, they were assessing the kids, and then they start beating and kicking the Bobo doll because there was something that they had learned behavior that they had saw. I remember when I worked in daycare, and I had a toddler that was toddlers are one. I was in the one-year-old class, and one of the parents came in. We had a kid in there that was a pincher, okay? And one of the parents came in and she asked us. She said, "My son has been pinching me at the house, and I'm wondering where's this coming from, because that is a learned behavior." And so that was an example of just like the social cognitive theory. Like certain behaviors are learned behaviors, and so the big thing right now we see is twerking. Okay, twerking is all over the media, right? So we got Miley Cyrus putting this thing out here, even though it kind of exists before her. But the media has plastered this whole concept of twerking, and then we see kids and young adults and grandmas and everybody now wanting to twerk. So they're embracing that social cognitive theory. So people are learning behaviors through the media.
Okay, and then the last theory is the expectancy value theory. The main thing about this theory is they focus on how the person perceives perceives the behavior and the outcome. So what they expect if they do the behavior and what the outcome will be. So when you look at these two ads, when you look at ad 1, what does this ad suggest about the outcome? And we want you to write it down on your sheet, and then we'll discuss it. And then you can also write, do you agree with the suggested outcome? And what is the value that you place on this outcome? And then while you're writing, you can go ahead and do ad 2 as well. So you pop the Molly, I'm sweating. Okay, so somebody tell me a little bit about ad 1. What is the outcome? What does this ad suggest about the outcome of this behavior? Or what is the behavior? Drinking.
Alcohol makes things fun, or alcohol takes over.
So alcohol, you said alcohol
Either make things fun,
makes things fun, or mentally takes over. Okay. Anybody else? What is this ad suggesting?
That when you consume alcohol, you get girls.
Yeah, that's what we were waiting to hear. Anything else that anybody sees with this ad?
If you drink, you become popular.
When you drink, you become popular.
Yeah. You the man. You the man.
Anything else?
Everybody's doing it.
Everybody's doing it. Anything else? Okay. Well, those were all really good ideas, and that's the main thing of this whole ad is that fun. So when you look at Pop the Molly, I'm sweating. Woo. So what does that say? What is that suggesting?
Right.
Did you take prescription medicine?
I really don't know. I've been trying to figure it out.
It's the junkie drugs or yours like that.
Is that those pills?
Anything? Ecstasy? Adderall? So what's that saying about the outcome? Is it gonna be sad or? So more people may do it based on who's saying it. So since he said it, they may think it's okay.
Also, that social factor, especially if you're one of those individuals and you have a social phobia, and the media is basically exposing you to celebrities that are known to be cool, or you're seeing individuals in the media that are perceived to be cool, that they're embracing, drugs, and they're making it seem as if it's cool. Because this clip actually comes from the song "Gold, All Gold, Everything." So it's, representing seeing a man in the industry with money, gold, and, just high social status. And he is basically sharing that, he's glorifying that he does drugs, that he's popping Molly, which is underground drugs, which is very, very harmful, but he's glamorizing it as it being a part of this lifestyle. So the lifestyle that a lot of individuals sitting back at home watching TV would like to have. So then that expectancy value is showing, okay, this is a glorified lifestyle. This is the celebrity lifestyle. That's something that has a high value. So it's encouraging you to somewhat engage in, these behaviors of drug use.
And then another thing with this one is that perception. They don't necessarily see the negative outcomes from it. These ads represent positive outcomes. So if you singing along to the song and this is something you're doing while you're having fun, then it's again glorifying it. So that's the whole thing. Is is the outcome, that value comes in place. Is it worth it? Is it one of those things? Do I feel like I'm going to be in harm if I do it? Because you don't ever see the harm aspect of it. And we'll talk about that a little bit later too.
You want to recap on the theory?
Okay, so those 3 theories. Can anybody shout out the first theory?
Yes.
What was the first theory that we talked about? Real quick. Cultivation.
Good
What was
job.
number 2? No, what was number 3?
We just saw that one.
Expectancy.
Exactly. Expectancy value theory.
And what was number 2?
Social.
Yes.
Okay, and does everybody understand how these correlate with health behaviors?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. So, 2/3 of Americans say the TV and the film industry fail to accurately depict the dangers of drug use, and more than half say that the media portrayal of drug use is a major factor in teen use. So that's like a little statistic.
Agreed.
And then the Stat Chat. I've been struggling trying to say that all day. Stat Chat. I don't know if everybody's public health, right? Maybe, possibly.
No.
Somewhat. Okay. No. Oh, well, excuse me then. Okay, so the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. I was doing a little research for my thesis, and I found that what they do is they set goals every 10 years. It's the Healthy People 2020 goals. So every 10 years they set goals of what they want, how to want to improve society's health or community's health, the public's health, basically. And under adolescent health, I found that media exposure is now an environmental factor. And what they do is they said that adolescents who are exposed to media portrayals of violent sexual content, smoking, and drinking are a risk for adopting these behaviors. So I thought that was interesting just because it's a new trend, it's a new topic that's coming out, and now it's actually on one of the main factors for for the government. And then I did more research and found that only 6 to 7% of characters are viewed as having some form of injury or illness that requires treatment in the media when violence occurs. So this kind of refers back to expectancy theory. We don't see that negative outcome in the media, and it shows here only 6 to 7% of the characters even show some form of injury or illness that requires some treatment. And then in the same study, only 3% actually show receiving medical treatment. So that's, yeah. So how does this relate to social cognitive theory?
Which is also the social learning theory. which is when you watch these behaviors.
You
learn- hint.
it's a learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
People think that they can, I guess, get shot and nothing will happen.
Yeah, so a lot of people think they can act on these behaviors and nothing happens because they don't see it happen. So that's how it relates to the social cognitive theory.
Awesome sauce.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the influence on physical health. And nowadays, we're tending to adapt more of a sedentary lifestyle, and then nutrition has become a factor on physical health. So, also in Healthy People 2020, so you're definitely going to know some of these objectives in Healthy People 2020 now. Some of the goals under physical activity is to increase the portion of children and adolescents between the ages of 2 years old to 12th grade who view television, videos, and play video games no more than 2 hours a day. So what they're trying to do is, a lot of research is showing, that the average teenager between like the ages of 12 and 17 is consuming at least like almost 7.5 hours of media per day. And that's including like all media sources, but then it's like 3.5 of just television itself. So what they're trying to do is, they say that if you consume less than 2 hours a day, you're not as influenced, but more than that, because you're watching, it's more excessive. So then in the next stat, it also talks about computers, and that's more of like the internet, the playing games on a computer, that internet use is the same statistic. They want to make it for less than 2 hours a day. And then an excessive amount of media exposure contributes to a sedentary lifestyle. And sedentary it means that more sitting down, you're not as active as you should be. And that also leads to unhealthy eating, because you're sitting down so much, you're more likely to pick up unhealthy foods. And I know, especially when watching TV, you're not looking for the fruits and vegetables. So.
And the weight gain the weight gain comes from just not being active. Even, if you're not eating all that junk, when you're not active and you're just sitting around, it's still gonna come.
That is so true. That is definitely true. So, what are the top 5 food advertisements that come to your mind within the next 15 seconds? And I want you to write it down. It's on your sheet.
Next piece.
So think about what you've seen recently on TV or heard on the radio.
Frozen pizza.
For food.
There's like 6 different things of frozen pizza. They all have commercial, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're going to all the time.
Tombstone. Yeah, you can eat individual brands of sad.
You sure?
You can eat individual brands of frozen pizza. That's sad.
They're big box. Oh, that's a lot of food for $20. You can get
Pizza Hut,
$20.
Nope, not they're going to
5 more seconds.
Party.
4, 3, 2, 1. So did anybody find 5?
Yes.
Okay, somebody shout out some of the ones that they thought about.
Pizza Hut.
McDonald's.
Pizza Hut, Hardee's,
Journals.
McDonald's, Burger King.
We said 2.
So y'all named a few of them. McDonald's is the largest
Oh yeah, Popeyes.
industry as far as food goes.
Carl Jr.
Did y'all think of any of these? I don't think I thought about Arby's.
I know I said
They do have a lot of commercials though. Okay, so when I was doing some more research as far as nutrition, 78% of ads show unhealthy fast food and versus healthy food. And if you look at this, it's a website down here, so if you want to look into more detail, this is from Canada. I had the hardest time trying to find U.S. data on unhealthy fast food versus healthy food. And I thought this was interesting because Canada and the UK tend to do more research on the media's influence on health behaviors. And this was one of the focuses that they had as far as nutrition. So I thought it was interesting. 78%, that's over 3/4, show unhealthy fast food versus healthy fast food. And it goes into a little more detail about how it influences
Is it just fast
people.
food? Yeah, it is just fast food.
Mm-hmm. And then television shows do not show weight gain from high-calorie diets. 75% of all shows display some type of activity that includes eating or drinking. So most shows, they're doing something, whether they're eating out or just snacking at home. But only 4 to 5% show episodes that actually show fruit as a snack. I thought that was very interesting, because then it makes you think about some of the shows you watch, and I don't see fruit. It may be on the tray, but nobody's eating it.
Or one of the points I know me and you discussed is when you look at a lot of TV shows, you see most people eating out. So it's like that's the new culture that we're embracing, that eat out culture, instead of actually be at home at the house, stay at home at the house and cook your food, you know? And it just shows how we have derived with technology and how it is embraced in the media, where it's almost seen as one of the things that is almost the expectancy value. Like if you eat out all the time, maybe you have more money, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's creating poor nutrition in our society.
Yes. So then in 2013, the fast food industry generated approximately 191 billion US dollars. And that's just in fast food. And McDonald's is the top one in all of that. And still growing. So based on some of the images, if you look at the Burger King Whopper, the advertisement to the left looks a little more healthy. Do you feel that way or not? No? You think it still looks unhealthy? Yeah.
Even the one with the lettuce and tomatoes and stuff?
It just looks better.
You said what?
It just looks better.
Has anyone ever got a burger that looked like the advertisement ad?
Yeah. I have.
You send it back.
One time.
Somebody said they have gotten a burger that looks like the advertisement ad.
Yeah.
One time, though, it wasn't
Really?
consistent.
Okay, is your burger more likely to look like the actual burger to the right?
Yes.
That's just McDonald's.
Somebody ate it and put it back.
And it says slightly fluffed up.
So, me and Jamaica found this ad right here. It's called, we called it the truth ad. What it would actually say if we put what it really does as far as when you eat these certain foods. So if you can read it, says clinically shown to make kids bigger by at least 20%. And it also says sugary diet.
Delight.
Oh, sugary delight.
So do you guys think that if we had ads like this, would people still buy the food? Do you think they would? Or do you somebody say yes?
Yes.
Somebody would.
Do you think if we had truth ads that were made, do you think people would still buy the unhealthy food?
Yeah. It's just like drugs.
Yeah. Cigarettes
Somebody said
cigarettes
just like
are a
drugs.
prime example.
Many weeks now.
So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that concept. Even though you know what it is, you're still gonna eat it. Kind of like chitterlings.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have for Thanksgiving anyway.
Or the cigarette. Everybody knows.
It just people know what it's gonna do, but they're still gonna. They know the consequences, but they're still gonna buy it.
Absolutely.
So it goes back to expectancy value theory. It's what they value. It's how they value that behavior and that outcome. Right. Somebody agree with me, right?
So I want to probe a question for you guys. You guys are health majors and you're seeking health careers. For someone in your pathway, if you feel that one, educating, because right here this is public health, with educating the masses on the impacts that the unhealthy food is having on them, what else could be done to improve nutrition? Is there anything else that could be done besides educating?
Policy changes.
Lower the price
Policy
of
changes.
That's a good one. Say that again.
lower the price of healthy food.
Lower the price of healthy foods.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Good idea.
And I think it overall decreases the numbers, even though you still have people smoking cigarettes, the numbers have decreased a lot. So it's the same when you educate the masses, you will see a return on the investment.
That is true. I know one thing about as far as public health goes, a lot of times I know it's kind of like sidetracking, but when it comes with public health, it's like you don't see the immediate results. It's more those over time it changes, so it's a lot harder to get changes such as policies because they don't see necessarily the immediate effects. So
it's like even with activity and exercises that it's been preached for years and years, but now you're seeing more and more people understanding the overall long-term effects, and they're actually taking more action to be active and running and exercising, going to the gyms and eating healthier.
Exactly. No, I do agree.
So tell me this: in South Carolina, do you guys have the law that we have in North Carolina, where there's no smoking inside of public buildings?
Yes.
Yes.
Y'all do? So it's not allowed?
Right.
Some places it is though.
Some places.
Okay, so you're basically saying implementing certain policies, such as something like what the states have implemented with not exposing individuals to smoke, and not allowing that in public facilities. Maybe implementing policies like that dealing with nutrition.
Yes.
Oh, you said people still follow them.
But if you have to, they're gonna have to.
You want to do the stat check?
Okay, so a stat check. We're going to do another check-in. So about 64% of American population is overweight or obese. On television, only 6% of males and 2% of females are considered overweight or obese. How does the media ad to the right encourage a sedentary lifestyle? If you look at both of them, what does it kind of say? And you can jot down on your notes as well. It should be at the very bottom. It's the last little area.
It's not
Jot
realistic.
down what is not realistic.
No.
What's not realistic about it?
The TV isn't portraying the reality of America. I mean, it's like a fantasy. It's a fantasy world.
They also make it look like there's an easy way out.
Right.
If you have a sedentary lifestyle, then you can just have liposuction or do a diet, and you'll be okay.
That is true.
Or
That is
look
true.
okay.
Yeah, that's true.
What does ad 1 say about a sedentary lifestyle?
Eat all day.
I'll give you a hint. Look at the. Go ahead.
It says eat all day, lose weight, and feel great. So it's basically saying you don't really have to do no type of physical activity. Just eat.
Mm-hmm. You just eat and lose weight. We wish it was that easy. So that's kind of what some of these ads are saying, and it may not be necessarily right out there, but it's the way they word it and it's the way they construct these ads to make it okay, to make it seem okay, or that seem like it's the reality. So some improvements that we came up with.
They don't risks that are involved in those type of diets or liposuction. They don't talk about the risks. They just glamorize that it's a quick fix.
Exactly. They don't talk about all the other underlying issues that come along with that, possibilities as well. So improvements to minimize or incorporate your media usage with physical activity. You can always listen to your music while running or while you're watching. I know Jamaica recommended this the other day. Is while I'm watching my reality shows, do a few squats or do some kind of activity, do some sit-ups or something while I'm watching them. So just get involved while you're doing that, or like the connect. And like the connect and the we is something really, I feel like it's positive as far as that getting more exercise, because it is more of that gaming aspect, but you're still doing that physical activity. So those are just a few improvements that we could do.
Okay, moving on to the media as a resource to public health. So we've discussed how the media can influence the different areas of public health with mental behaviors and also physical. But now let's look at the positive, because the media doesn't all have negative. It's not all negative. So we need to look at the positive and how the media can be a resource to the field of public health. So the media can be a resource in different ways, such as preventative measures, educating the masses, and also through media campaigns. So looking at preventative measures, basically one of the main things that we can look at with accessing the media is basically how the media can serve as a resource in educating individuals on public health outcomes to prevent an outbreak or prevent illness. So, for instance, like there's the Ebola plague going on right now. just think about how the role the media has played in educating individuals about that you may not have been exposed to 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. For individuals that are experiencing it and individuals that are not, they're being educated on the measures to take. One, that this is going on. So you're getting that instant information through the media. And for those that have not been exposed, this is what you need to do. Okay, so it's helping with that, with those preventative measures, with getting that information out there to the masses to educate them on something that may be going on recent in public health and how to avoid outbreaks. Increased access to the internet and mobile communication combined with strategic uses of social media can bring public health information to many more people more quickly and directly than any other time in history. So social media is definitely something huge that can help educate individuals on if you're trying to find information on symptoms, how to find out if you are experiencing something that may fall under the area of health that you may not know what's going on with me. What's going on with my body? I'm experiencing something. Maybe I can go find this out through the internet. I know when I was growing up and I was a kid in my parents' household, my mom had a bunch of books. We had a library in our house, basically, with books. And if something was going on, my mom would pull from the book. She'll pull off the shelf. Well, you have instant access at your phone. You have instant access that if something's going on right now with you, you can just instantly Google it. I know my niece, a couple of years ago, she got bit by a bee, and we didn't know what to do. And she was going through a lot. And somebody was telling us, oh, it's just a bee sting. Don't worry about that. But then my sister said, let's Google it. Let's figure out what to do. And then we found out different techniques that you could do to help, one, get the sting out and how to treat the area. So the media has created a lot of preventative measures because there are certain things that may happen in health that if it's not treated, you can create other health issues as well. So that information is available at our fingertips. How to educate the masses. With public health and everything that's deriving, there's so many opportunities to educate the masses through media, such as online educational courses and seminars. Look at what's going on right now. You guys are watching us, and you're in different locations across South Carolina. Isn't that cool? So this is how the media can create opportunities to learn about public health. Also seminars, individuals that may just want to offer classes for people that just want to experience and learn more about public health. Those are accessible and available trainings. Informational fan pages on Facebook or any type of blogs that basically create posts that inform individuals on new things that are deriving in the field of public health. On this beginning slide, we were sharing about the iAddict, the blog that the young lady did, basically talking about the internet addiction disorder. So having blogs and fan pages like this so they can understand. Some people may not even know an internet addiction disorder existed if they didn't read that blog and they ran across it one day. Podcasts. Creating opportunities to share information to the masses. If you're in that health education field, maybe you might consider creating a podcast to educate people through audio footage via the internet on new findings in the field of public health, or maybe covering information with community contacts and sharing that with the masses through the internet. App creation is another thing that's huge now since we have the evolution of the smartphones and Androids. There's healthy apps for people. People are utilizing. I actually have an app on my phone that helps me track how many calories I eat during the day and also how many steps I walk. So these apps, and there's new ones that are deriving, and who knows, one of you guys that's listening in on this presentation may have an app idea in your head that can basically help in the field of public health. TV ads and campaigns are another way that we can educate the masses in the area of public health, and we're going to go more into detail on that next slide with media campaigns. So we have the Ugly Truth campaign that I'm pretty sure if you guys watch TV, you have at least seen one Truth campaign ad. Charnel, what is your favorite Truth campaign ad?
I don't know. That new one has just, I don't know. I don't know. You know the one where she goes up to buy her cigarettes and she got to take off her skin? Oh, that stuck with me.
So So, like, these campaign ads are basically capturing audiences and the masses by creating very visual and graphic content that makes you aware of the influences that certain behaviors are having on you as an individual in the field of public health. So these media campaigns are very impactful, and they grab the audiences that are viewing them. So those can be very influential to society. So even some of you guys may have an idea for media campaign ad in the field of public health, and just showing individuals that may not understand how certain behaviors that they're engaging in, how it's impacting them. What do you think about? Did any of you guys participate in the Facebook campaign? What was it? The ice challenge. The ice challenge. Anybody participate in that?
Yes.
That was okay. Somebody did, but that was a huge campaign for people to understand about the disease and how it was impacting individuals. So that got out a lot of awareness. Think about. I definitely think that there are probably people that participated in it that probably didn't know what they were doing while they was doing it, but it did at least bring awareness to the masses on the disease. So campaigns such as that and like the Ugly Truth campaign are examples as how the media can be a resource to educate the masses. Okay. Stat Chat. Now these stats I think are amazing for you guys, and you guys should really look at these stats, especially with you guys being in the field of health. Let's go through some of these. More than 40% of consumers say that information found via social media affects the way they deal with their health. So that means you scrolling across information on your social media pages, and it basically affects the way you deal with your own personal health. Do y'all agree or you disagree with that fact?
Agree.
You agree? Okay, 18 to 24-year-olds are more than 2 times as likely than 45 to 54-year-olds to use social media for health-related discussions. So, have you guys ever witnessed any health discussions on Facebook or Twitter? Anything dealing with health?
Running.
Huh?
Running. Like becoming more.
People posting on there. I know I got one of my sorority sisters. She's been posting all her mile runs on there, and then other people like, "Girl, where you running? Where can I meet you at?" You know, and so yeah, so you see some healthy discussions, and you always see some people putting their dinner that they created and how healthy it looks and how they got their vegetables and potatoes, and you know, so promoting that healthy lifestyle. And then there's discussion taking place with other people via social media. YouTube traffic to hospital sites has increased 119% year over year. Can y'all believe that? What do y'all think about that? So basically, it's YouTube. It's driving people to hospital sites from seeing experiences that are taking place, and basically creating that credibility. So that's an example of how social media is kind of serving as that credibility factor. 41% of people said social media would affect their choice of a specific doctor, hospital, or medical facility. What do you guys think about that for you guys entering the health professional field? True.
That's true.
Okay, so definitely think about that. I know we do a workshop. We did a workshop last year with some of the your institutions on professional branding for you guys that are in that public health field. And just think about your brand and the image and how clearly that is evident, how that's impacting people's perspective on the institutions that they choose to engage in and the professionals that they choose to basically provide services for them. 90% of respondents from 18 to 24 years of age said they would trust medical information shared by others on social media networks. Do y'all believe that? 90%. 90. That means people talking about their experiences.
They'll tell it all.
Huh?
Tell it all.
They'll tell it all.
Yeah,
Good,
so
bad,
if you saw someone, so if you saw someone venting about a horrible experience that they had at a hospital, would that change your perception on whether or not you decide to go?
Yes.
The majority. Do you think it would change the majority?
Yes.
Clearly, 90% said said that, and this is 18 to 24 years of age. 19% of smartphone owners have at least one health app on their phone. Exercise, diet, and weight apps are the most popular types. Do you guys agree with that? Do you see that becoming a new trend?
Yes.
Exactly. 31% of healthcare professionals use social media for professional networking. So you guys that are in that health field, apps, social media apps, networking apps, LinkedIn, these are becoming popular opportunities for healthcare professionals to network and to kind of see what's going on and assess what other professionals are doing in their field and to connect and share ideas and information. All right. So what you guys are going to do now is tally up, look and see if you did any tallies. Did anybody have any tallies for them actually thinking about checking their phone? Everybody check their phone.
2 times.
35.
2 times? I heard 2. Anybody higher than 2? 5?
I have
35.
3?
8.
8?
Somebody had 8 in 1 hour?
8.
Anybody higher than 8?
1 hour.
I was looking for the time.
Yeah.
Did somebody
Are you looking for the time?
did somebody go past 8? Did somebody get higher than 8?
35?
Oh.
Ain't no way.
Yes, ma'am.
35 tally marks.
Lying.
Keep addicted.
This basically is an example of how, to kind of assess where you are with the internet addiction disorder. Some of us have never even thought about ourselves even having cases of the internet addiction disorder. And then also just assess personally, basically, did you feel any feelings of anxiety? 1, when I told you to shut your phone off, or 2, just trying not to grab it. Were you feeling any symptoms of anxiety, like I need my phone right now? Okay, so these are examples of your body and health-wise, the changes that individuals are going through. Just think, people were not even experiencing any of this 10 to 15 years ago. So these are things to assess that have derived from media, new technology, and advances made.
Okay, so we're going to talk about a few call to actions. We're going to sum it all up. So we're going to talk about media literacy. Okay, so how do you become media literate? So media literacy overall is the ability to read conscious and subconscious messages. So those are like the hidden direct messages, kind of like how we did in the advertisements, how we saw what it was out there and then kind of went a little deeper into it. So then we also have an acronym for DEEP. We're going to talk about that next. And then using organizations such as I'm Not the Media or other media literacy or educational programs that focus on media literacy.
Okay, once again, this is the call to action. We just gave you all this information. What to do? What can I do?
Okay, I need everybody flip over their paper. I need you to write this down. So get deep into the conversation. Discuss the issues, examine the content, explain the meaning, and probe questions.
It's on their handout.
Oh, it's on your handout? Oh, you're good. Never mind, it's on your handout. You're good. So the main thing with this is you can do this individually or with groups of friends, and y'all can kind of watch these reality shows like we did earlier and assess what's in it. And then probe questions like, why do I watch this? Like, what about it? Or what am I seeing? Kind of going back and forth with that. So.
Yeah, so watch Love and Hip Hop from a public health perspective next time and probe questions, right?
Yes. And the last thing is we did a little research to figure out who has media literacy programs. And these universities, and then the last one is a Knowledge Lab, offer master's degrees or a certificate program to get it in media literacy. And the closest one to us is actually Appalachian State has a master's and certificate program for media literacy. So that would be something to definitely check out if you do want to find out more about media literacy, especially how it influences public health. That would be a good way to get into that area.
Yes, once again, media literacy is a new focus area that's being derived, and I think it's very essential because it for you guys in the field of public health, because it correlates heavily with some of the research and some of the things that you're tapping into with studying the community and masses and how they're being impacted in the field of health. But once again, this is an untapped field of study. These institutions are few and far between that have programs. So, after this presentation, if you're considering, hey, I want to do more information and get more information and study and maybe add this on as a side, or maybe pursue a master's in this or a post-baccalaureate certificate, these are some institutions that basically have programs, and when I say these programs, I mean, these have came about within the last year or two. Like I said, this is a new untapped field of study. So these institutions are some that can be a resource for you if you're considering now after this presentation to get more information. And last but not least, the handout page, this whole presentation, you guys have access to the slides, and these are resources that you guys can use to get more information. Some of this information, all of the information studies that we grabbed for this presentation, our links are provided and accessible for you. And these are some of the websites, articles, and books, and those that are not listed right here on this page, they are listed beside each slide where those facts and that information is provided. And that concludes our presentation.